And this is a quote, a lot of people had access to that Tesla. That's from somebody connected to all of this. And maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But if they did, well, that would definitely complicate matters.
From the very beginning, people online were skeptical about David's manager, Josh Marshall. Many felt there was something off about the way he handled things, especially when it came to his involvement in Celeste Rivas Hernandez's situation. He was supposed to guide David's career, help him make smart moves, sign deals, and stay out of trouble, but instead, he found himself in the middle of a legal storm that no one saw coming. Now things have taken a major turn. Federal agents have reportedly taken Josh into custody after leaked footage surfaced online, sparking nationwide outrage. Authorities say the video is part of an ongoing investigation, and prosecutors believe Josh could be facing serious federal charges that might change the course of his life forever. But to really understand how things spiraled out of control, you have to rewind a bit, back to where the first red flags started waving. Months ago, people tried to warn him. Back in February 2024, a family friend of Celeste allegedly reached out to Josh directly through email. And this wasn't just a casual message. It included official documents and clearly urged him to step back and allow her to return home safely. And here's the part that shocked everyone. Just one day after that email, Celeste actually did return home. For a brief moment, it looked like everything was finally being resolved. But clearly, that wasn't the end of the story.
With him, and that they included the missing persons flyer. She's a missing person. She's, 12 or 13 at that time. And the next, I think it was the next day or the day after, she showed up. She just showed up on her own, back home.
From the start, it was clear that something about Josh Marshall's involvement didn't sit right with people online. After that early warning email reached him, it became impossible to ignore the fact that Josh had been made aware of serious concerns regarding Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Yet she somehow ended up back around the same circle just weeks later. Sources close to the situation claim this wasn't speculation, but a timeline backed by people who knew her personally and tried to help her return home safely. Now, if you're managing a rising artist under a major label, and you find yourself in a situation like this, you'd expect immediate action, contacting families, authorities, or taking steps to set clear boundaries. But instead, Josh stayed silent, and that silence quickly became the center of controversy. A well-known investigator, Steve Fisher, even spoke publicly, calling the silence from everyone involved, Josh, David, and the label, deafening. Months later, after the tragedy involving Celeste made national headlines, Josh went online to issue a lengthy statement denying any wrongdoing. He said he never received any emails, never lived with David, and had no knowledge of the situation. He emphasized that he's a family man and that online speculation was unfairly targeting him. His message ended with a call for people to focus on facts and allow authorities to finish their investigation. On the surface, it sounded like sincere damage control, a man trying to protect his family during a difficult time. But for many observers, the timeline didn't add up. The alleged emails existed. Friends of Celeste had reportedly reached out to Josh before, and somehow she had reappeared in the same environment again. That's when the internet began digging deeper. Fans and online investigators started comparing timelines, archived posts, and even screenshots that seemed to connect David and Josh to a larger pattern of questionable behavior. One particularly viral theory linked imagery from David's older music videos to recent events, moments that once looked artistic but now felt unsettling in hindsight. When these discussions spread to Reddit and TikTok, something strange began happening. Posts and threads were suddenly disappearing. Users noticed that David himself was listed as the only moderator on his official subreddit, and that only fueled more suspicion. Fans accused him of deleting posts and silencing conversations, which quickly turned into a full-blown online storm. Meanwhile, Interscope Records, the label connected to David, stayed completely silent. No public statement, no comment. For fans, that silence felt strategic, almost like the label was protecting its brand, rather than addressing growing public concern. The backlash only got louder, especially toward both David and Josh, as people demanded accountability. But amid all the chaos, more personal stories began surfacing. People who actually knew Celeste, including her friends and an ex-boyfriend, spoke out about her difficult home life and her repeated attempts to run away. These testimonies painted a picture of a teenager struggling and vulnerable, and according to online claims, Josh may have been aware of her situation long before things escalated. Insiders even alleged that he had positioned himself as someone trying to help, while possibly encouraging decisions that led her deeper into instability. Critics began questioning whether Josh's pattern of involvement with controversial artists was coincidental or part of something larger, pointing out that he had managed other musicians who faced legal challenges in the past. Not everyone, however, agreed with the online narrative. Some public voices, like Charleston White, defended David, saying there wasn't enough verified evidence to directly connect him to the most serious allegations. He argued that if there had been clear proof, authorities would have already taken action. At this point, what started as a music industry scandal has turned into a tangled web of unanswered questions, legal speculation, and divided public opinion. Fans want truth, families want closure, and until official investigations reveal what really happened, the story remains one of the most disturbing and talked about controversies in recent memory.
Fuck out of here. All the evidence that's out there.
When they gonna let a nigga stay out this long, they got a little bit of evidence. They that rest nigga way less evidence. If nothing else, put him in jail just to put a hold on him.
And this is where everything starts to shift. For months, people online kept asking the same question. If there really wasn't enough proof against David, then why was the case still moving forward? Maybe now we have the answer. Because according to multiple reports, federal investigators have quietly shifted their focus toward Josh Marshall. It's being said that the feds have obtained new, potentially crucial evidence, digital files, photos, and even possible video data connected to that Tesla that's been at the center of the story since the very beginning. Now, this isn't just about social media theories anymore. This has become something much bigger, a full-scale federal investigation. And when the feds step in, it usually means one thing. They believe there's enough to take things seriously. Sources close to the situation say investigators have been building this case for months, connecting timelines, messages, and movements. They're reportedly confident that what they've uncovered could finally bring clarity to a case that's had the internet divided for almost a year. But here's the part that really hits hard. A young life is gone, and for far too long, the adults in charge stayed quiet. The artist, the manager, the label, all powerful people who had platforms, access, and responsibility, chose silence instead of action. And now, that silence is echoing louder than ever. Whether Josh was directly involved or simply knew more than he admitted, the end result feels the same. A situation that spiraled completely out of control, one that cost lives, careers, and reputations. The man who was supposed to guide and protect his client has now become the subject of a nationwide investigation. And if what the reports are saying turns out to be true, if the evidence really does connect back to him, then Josh Marshall could be facing the most serious consequences imaginable, not just in his career, but in his life. What was once a music industry story has now turned into a federal case. And for the first time, people aren't just asking what happened. They're asking who knew, and when did they know it? Because in the end, silence doesn't protect anyone. It only delays the truth.